Blessings, blessings, blessings and grand risings. How are you, everybody? Welcome, welcome to Grace in the Morning. This is take two. Give me 1 second. Let me get my camera together. We're not even going to let it, we're not going to start the live with that, but I'm doing a take two. Okay, guys, just heads up. Y'all know I've been doing the beta test. And basically, oops, give me 1 second. There we go. This is the product of censorship. What we're talking about today. And we're going to be talking about a series of things that I need everybody to pay attention. But I am a product of censorship. And I need you guys to understand. Just a few minutes ago, I went live on my streaming equipment in my studio. Okay. And I did tell you guys, we're going to get to it. We're going to get to all this Kash Patel. We're going to get to everything. But I'm going to let y'all know in real time what's going on. So I'm going to need y'all support as well as I'm going to need y'all to listen so y'all can see what's really going on and how deeply embedded this situation can get into your life, my life, and everybody's life, especially when we get into Trump executive order or whatever he filled out. Now, I just went live a few minutes ago, guys, and I don't know if notifications went out, but I went live on my computer and I said I was going to use streaming equipment. Nobody came in. I pretty much know that people are going to come into this live while I'm streaming on my phone, and we're going to have a good and engaging conversation. Now, I have been noticing this has been happening, but I've been doing beta tests to see which will work and which will not work. So what we're going to do now, we're going to start the conversation and see how this live goes today. How many people get notification, how many people will come in, because I am a product of censorship. Basically, I'm under the assumption that my particular PC and my IP address has been put into some type of restriction or database that when I stream out, that my stream from my particular computer and my, because you know you got a desktop, it does not go out. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm gonna be working with some, people who are more technical and how you say inclined than me, so I can kind of find out what's going on. But now we're here today to talk about the war on speech. My computer have or whatever's happened to me actually started because I was highlighting a lot of government disparities that was happening in the black community in the Democratic realm. As I mentioned to you guys, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. So I literally been cyber attacked and dismantled by, I believe, Democrat affiliate people. So that's why I said everything that I just said in the beginning. If y'all didn't hear what I said, y'all hear it when y'all replay. But we are streaming from my phone right now so we can try to get some information out to you guys. So let's get to the subject matter, okay? One of the issues we're dealing with right now that I believe is that they have set the American people up to lose their freedom of speech. This is not the first time where we have our government go after our freedom of speech, finding any and every reason to displatform or deplatform us, censor us, call people who think out of the box crazy, and label them. And now I'm seeing where the labels is leading to. It's leading to lists. It's leading to the ADL list and the FBI list. So now that we know that that's kind of happening, we're now starting to see some laws come into place that's going to further push that agenda. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to finish off where we left yesterday, where we talked about the ADL basically putting Charlie Kirk's organization on their list, calling them extremists, okay? And if y'all don't know what the Anti-Defamation League is, the Anti-Defamation League is basically an Israel-based organization, because I can't call it a government type thing, but it's an Israel-based organization to basically neutralize propaganda, anti-Semitic speech. So I guess it won't lead to the death of more of Jewish people. That's what I'm thinking. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Candice Owens went into detail about the foundations of the ADL And, it was quite remarkable. This is not my first time hearing it. But again, it makes sense because the foundations was brought upon to protect a child artist that was lynched by his own people. And because they wanted to change the narrative, because he was possibly Jew, that's what I'm remembering. They wanted to keep his legacy good. I'm not understanding why, because that guy was not a good guy. Okay, so that's the foundation of the ADL, and that's kind of what they do. So with the Kyrie Irving situation, they were involved in that as well. Okay, they went after him. So in the statement, it announced that this is the ADL. This is, okay, hold on one second. Hold on one second. Because I had moved forward, guys. Let's look at this real quick. We're going to have to do it this way, y'all. Let's get it. Please hit the like button as you come in. Still fighting in the algorithm. So we're going to just kind of summarize this article brought to you by 7 Israel National News. And y'all know I give y'all news from all over. Good morning, good morning. If you don't know who I am, my name is Miss Grace. So the Anti-Defamation League has included Turning Point USA in its extremist and hate glossary, drawing sharp criticism from the supporters and a wave of backlash across social media. The ADL were described as mission as combating anti-Semitism, as what we talked about, and secure justice and fair treatment for all. And it's not all. I'm thinking it's just Jewish people, but they say for all, cited TPUSA, allegedly promoted conspiracy theories, supported for Christian nationalism, and attraction of racist elements as key reasons for its classification. Now, let's just keep this in mind. We were just talking about that, and a lot of other people were bringing that to attention. I never knew how much, and I think Candace Owens told us it was about $100 million or something like that, that Israel actually offered Charlie Kirk. For what apparent reason, we're not sure, but we know what that money was offered for, and he allegedly turned it down. So Israel, and you can Google it, Israel has direct ties to the ADL. They are the people who actually can put it together, and that is truth and fact. So now that he don't take the money from you, now he's on the list, or he's been on the list. Okay, and it's weird because Israel has its hand in our pocket, and we're promoting the war, or now we're trying to be peacekeepers. But all of these years, we were promoting them getting armor. We were helping them. Long relationship. So let's just keep this in mind. But why would they have a problem with Christian nationalism? When, like I said, I'm a person for separate but equal. All of our cultures are very important. So if you want to be a Christian nationalist without going to harm people or kill people, you are perfectly fine with me. How does that affect them? Does that make sense? How does that affect them? So we already know about the foundation of Charlie Kirk, things like that. But I wanted to highlight some of the key things that's going on right now between ADL and their turning idea against Charlie Kirk. But what's a little, I'm going to say, surprising to me, and we're going to have to follow up on this, is Elon Musk came out and said something. So the ADL report accused Kirk of promoting Christian nationality, as we talked about, nationalism, and hosting events where known extremists have spoken. And where's that? At schools? At colleges? Because that's where a lot of his bases were at. A lot of his camps are at. So are you talking about the colleges? And we have to reflect back that Israel has been, I can't say Israel directly, but there has been a talk, an issue against college students who stand with Palestine, and all of that's going on. So they already had their eyes on that situation, and I think Charlie Kirk was supposed to be the person that was supposed to come in and neutralize that. But I think him really realizing what's going on and starting to expand his horizons, he started to look at things a little bit different. So you see how these things are intertwined. That's what we're here to do. We kind of trying to connect the dots to these webs, so we won't look at things so separately. So you have the people who were going to sponsor him to continue his voyage around all these colleges to speak to young college students who were allegedly already protesting the war in Israel and Palestine and needed to get control over that. Okay? But here we go. We got Elon Musk. He says the list provoked immediate response online with technology entrepreneur Elon Musk calling the ADL a hate group in a series of posts on his X platform, most specifically commending the organization classification of TPUSA, describing the move as deeply wrong. Several political figures and other commentators also weighed in. So that's what we're doing right now. Honestly, a lot of organizations are on their list. We as young black people are on the ADL list, if you don't know that. So now they put yo guys on the list. We've been on the list. It's been a video that was circling around where they were having meetings, just like they had a meeting before, just now, as Candace always showed. I'm not going to show the clip today because I got some other stuff to show. But they had a meeting. They were sitting there saying our biggest issue in America, that was around the time of COVID, is the black young people. They didn't even say extremists. They didn't say people who was criminals. They just said black and young. So my thing is, how is anyone in America, black people, white nationalists, whoever, how does that affect you? And what I think it does is affect the dollar, the weight that they can put on an American pocket without us realizing. Okay? So this went on into Kash Patel trying to save face with Trump. He already know he messed up. With the Epstein file and his testimony, it was terrible. Said some stuff that he wasn't supposed to say. I'm surprised Trump didn't even already fire him. He already messed up on the investigation dealing with the Kirk killer, allegedly. According to Candace Owens, y'all keep your eye on her. I'm watching. I'm like, she being Inspector Gadget, and people are coming together. Eyewitnesses that may have been suppressed are starting to come up. So, Kash Patel trying to save face here. Kash Patel severs FBI ties with James Comey, backing Anti Defamation League after group rip Charlie Kirk's TPUSA. I'm sorry, I got to say it like that. We got to bring some life to this. Now, we already know that James Comey is under investigation all of a sudden. In my opinion, y'all let me know what y'all think. I think that's a fluke. I think each administration picked somebody from the other side to go investigate. Just like when Biden was in, they want to do Russiagate. And then he come in, he want to do Biden ain't. Just a bunch of stuff. BS to keep us occupied. That's what I was thinking with the James Comey thing. But I'm thinking Kash Patel is using that as a way to balance out. Like, okay, I'm about to get good with Trump. We're going to double down on James Comey because he ain't backing down from being associated with the ADL. He ain't, because he already know he out. They probably his only allies. Okay? This is going to be a little bit big, because the ADL is directly connected to Israel. So this is going to do a lot to America's relationship with them. What do you think is going to happen? You tell me. You tell me what you think is going to happen, because they've been in our pockets for a long time, as well as secretly shaping our policies and secretly shaping the mind of our youth and what's on the internet. Okay? You like, how? Because now we can literally say it. They own everything. They own the TV. Okay, they own everything. They own the tone, everything. They own the broadcasting networks. Go look at it. Kanye West said it best, and he put the list of all the people. And after that, Kanye was never right. I'm gonna just leave that right there, because he don't look like the same Kanye after that debacle. I'm just being honest. And you know what, too? We're gonna bring this. I just wanted someone put free Diddy. Now I know that is trolling, and that's kind of ridiculous, but this is going to go into that. I have a little opinion about this. I think child trafficking is involved in this. A great part of it, from what I'm hearing, is a big network, and Israel has some ties to that, allegedly. People who have done things from that country can go over there and not serve their time. We're going to show the proof. But then you have Here, we're battling to get the Epstein files out, which deal with sex trafficking, children. They were kids. I don't care they 16, 15, they're adults now, they were kids. Make the connection. So if you want to free a Diddy that I think is the Epstein of the music industry that's collapsing, I think you're a little sick. That's what I say. People who want him free, then you want Epstein free too. But it's good to bring that up because eventually we're going to get to that, because this freedom of speech and thing is going to mutate into more conversation, and it leads to that. Okay? It leads to that. Let's watch this though. Now, while we're looking at all of those pieces of the puzzles come together, where people are using allegedly now Charlie Kirk's death as a way to go after people who said things wrong about him at first. At first, like we're just, and now it has mutated into some type of executive order with Charlie Kirk's name in it, and mutated into stopping hate speech. Okay. Now it's crazy because before we get into the Project 2025 video, this is how manipulation works, I think. I'm not a Charlie Kirk fan, and I'm not going to devalue him or, talk down on him as a person. He's dead. I'm sorry. But the truth of the matter is that he spewed a lot of rhetoric, things that wasn't acceptable to people he talked about. And we could have took it as hate speech. A lot of us did. That's why I told you I never watched him. It was like he didn't like us. He hated us. Why? And he was able to do this to a point that it was so egregious and how can I say, so voluminous, now that it's showing its ugly head, because he riled up a whole lot of people on these freedom of speech misconceptions. But this was pushed. This was funded by Trump, by his administration. Ben had ties to him, allegedly. Wife and everything. It's how he met his wife. All types of stuff. So this is how psyops work. This is what I'm saying. It seems a little weird that you have this guy pushing extremist thoughts. His extremist thoughts. Whatever. I didn't like it. You liked it. But now it has bubbled up so bad that right after he passed, you have a number of police shootings. You have hangings. You have extreme stuff going on as far as maybe retaliation to what people are feeling because of the extreme behaviors and extreme thoughts and feelings that they had by listening to him. And now they're acting on it. Okay, if we have that happening, because this is all we just right here, this is just throwing some stuff together. Just if this was a psyops. So now you have the same people who did all of this, which is the Republicans, and that's true. And now you have them same people saying, hey, we're going to use this same guy. If you talk anything bad about him, we're going to take your right away. Now we're going to determine what hate speech is. But they never define what his speech as being hate speech. But now we're going to determine what hate speech. And when you see this, it's not completely opposite. It's opposite and a little bit more extreme of the measures they were taking for the COVID type thing, trying to censor us. We're gonna get to the executive order. I'm talking before I get there. I'm a little bit like, yo, it's happening in front of our face. They're doing this. They're doing this. And you say what they're doing? They're taking our rights away, right in front of us. Let's play this real quick.
Training videos for people who want to join a new Trump government in the hopes of someday being kicked off Dancing with the Stars.
This is a joke, Daily Show. Let's just watch this.
Let's hire anyone.
If you've been convicted of a crime, you will not be serving in the federal government. Crimes such as fraud, embezzlement, and tax evasion show a lack of moral character.
Now, I believe that this is part of the series of leak videos, and we're going to show you one of the leak videos that kind of go with this commentary. But I'm looking like, okay, you're already starting off on the wrong foot. But let's finish listening.
Yeah, we'd hate to have fraud fraudsters and tax evaders work for the Trump administration. Go on.
To obtain employment in government, it is not favorable if you have accumulated debt and file for bankruptcy.
So, do you hear this? This is not, we're making fun of Trump though, because you know he fits this criteria. But we filed bankruptcy. A few of you have. People had to do that. Chapter 7, Chapter 11, Chapter 8, whatever you had to do, you had to do it. So, how is that going to affect us getting a job or, you know, like being considered part of the status known? I guess this is some of the stuff that's coming out. But as we know, this Project 2025, and I believe, if I can pull it up, that Trump has just kind of made a inference towards Project 25 being unrolled. But let me verify that, because I think I had came across that a little bit, but I hope I sent it to myself. Let's get to this one right here, okay? Because this is a little bit weird.
You might want to run this up the chain to the boss because it's starting to feel personal. Nope.
Let's go.
So if the next Republican president does not execute a dramatic course correction, there may never be another chance. So if you're not on board with helping implement a dramatic course correction because you're afraid it'll damage your future employment prospects, it'll harm you socially, please do us all a favor and sit this one out.
Do you see that? ProPublica, we have that person. And ProPublica and Documented obtained more than 14 hours of video from Project 2025 Presidential Administration Academy. Presidential Administration Academy. The private videos are part of the effort to recruit and train future conservative political appointees. That's what we're going to watch a little bit of.
According to our intelligence community, the #1 threat facing our country today is, drumroll, climate change. Not Russia, not China, not AI, climate change. This shows how the federal government is all in on this issue. This is an issue to pay attention to as it has infiltrated every part of the federal government.
Now, you know, there was that big gaslighting talking about climate change and carbon tax on us, and I guess they want to limit our breathing, car use. We gotta walk. Oh, whoa. Here they go talking about this. She said this is part of their video. This is the most important thing. It's not AI. It's not terrorism. No. Because the thing they were trying to implement under that, the guise of that, was flowing into 30-minute cities and preserving the land above humans. Okay, I love the land. I love us, and we're supposed to work together, but what they were pushing was extreme. Like locking us up, making a lot of parks, actual like historical national parks that we couldn't go into, increasing, like, you know, preserving land that we couldn't go into. Hold on one second. Ooh, my coffee. That we couldn't go into. Hold on. We ain't stopping this broadcast. That we couldn't go into. But with that goes to say, that just put me into a realm of thinking when they were pushing this ulterior motive, what does that mean and what it led to? And that was more restrictions on us, as well as us being possibly in 30-minute cities. Let's finish watch this real quick while I get a little knacking. The devil trying to get me. I ain't letting them. We had a tough night yesterday, y'all, but we here for it.
Now, when I think of climate change, I immediately think of population control, don't you? I think about the people who don't want you to have children because of the impact on the environment.
If the next Republican president,
all right, let's watch this one.
Dramatic course correction.
Now, I want you guys to take a look at this particular video. Shout out to Democracy Now! I'm not going to get copyright, but this is the gentleman who actually posted the video. So just watch a few minutes of that, and then we're going to get to the executive order, okay?
To overhaul the federal government known as Project 2025. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump's trying to downplay his connection to the plan, and last week Kevin Roberts, head of the influential right-wing Heritage Foundation, postponed the release of his Project 2025 book until after the November election. The book's foreword is written by Trump's vice presidential running mate, J.D. Vance. Trump's campaign
Wait,
insisted that
wait. Sorry, y'all got loud. JD Vance? Who is JD Vance right now? Who is JD Vance right now? I said his name right this morning. Is that our vice president? That's quiet as all hell. Let's just, woo, I didn't know that, y'all. Shout out to Democracy Now! Let's just watch a few minutes of this, okay, guys? While I clean my coffee up. Shout out to the Most High. We just gonna keep on pushing, y'all.
Action to the right-wing blueprint for immigration, almost 1,000 pages long.
Wow.
A blueprint for immigration, reproductive rights, climate policy, and more. But many of the key figures working for Project 2025 are former top Trump administration officials. Some of them featured in newly released videos that were created for Project 2025's president.
But didn't Republicans, and especially Trump base, said that they had nothing to do with Project 2025, that he's not pushing 2025? All of them vehemently deny that. And what we seeing is the rollout of Project 2025. I've been saying, I'm like, yo, this Project 2025, and I only read the first 4 chapters. But now we at least get to watch these long videos and figure out what they trying to train people to do.
Presidential Administration Academy. In a major new development, the independent news outlets ProPublica and Documented have now published dozens of these videos, some of which will feature today. In this clip, Trump's former deputy chief of staff at USAID, the U.S. Agency for International Development, Bethany Kozma, discusses climate change. Climate change allegedly is everywhere.
This is what we just watched. So just a few more minutes and watch this, and we're going to get to that executive order. Or no, we're going to watch a little bit of another video that I want to show you that's important about how they're addressing the media.
If the American people elect a conservative president, his administration will have to eradicate climate change references from absolutely everywhere. And according to our intelligence community, the #1 threat facing our country today is, drumroll, climate change. Not Russia, not China, not AI, climate change. This shows how the federal government is all in on this issue. And climate change activists wield a lot of power. This is an issue to pay attention to as it has infiltrated every part of the federal government. Now, when I think of climate change, I immediately think of population control, don't you? I think about the people who don't want you to have children because of the impact.
Hold
on
on
the
one second, y'all.
environment.
Sorry.
Perhaps not everyone will make that connection, but after spending time in the international space trying to protect life, I can tell you that this is part of their ultimate goal, to control people. That's conservative activist and former Trump official Bethany Kozma in a newly released Project 2025 training video. For more, we go to
So we're going to watch that, but I want you to look at the man real quick before we go to the video. Here we go.
Those come from the Presidential Administration Academy, which is one of the main pillars of Project 2025. We've heard a lot about, you've talked about on this show, the extreme policy proposals that Project 2025 put out in its 900-page mandate for leadership document. What's gotten less attention, but is no less important to Project 2025's long-term goal here, is to train thousands of future political appointees so that if a conservative president, which of course now means if Donald Trump, a conservative candidate, wins in November and we have a Republican president, that there will be a bench of thousands of vetted and trained appointees who can go into the government and fill openings in that government, so that, as Project 2025 itself says on its website, that conservative...
All right, so this is who he is, who actually released the videos. We're going to get to the videos right now, but this was the ulterior motive. And they said this right in front of us and in front of the Trump supporters. They told you that this is what's going to happen when you get a Republican president. Okay, but now we're seeing it. So this is a private training video right here, working with the media. Okay, it's just a few things that we're going to highlight the key points, let him talk a little bit, but they do have like a PowerPoint that's there so we can get the key points that he's about to talk about. All right, so let's get trained so we can be part of the government. Okay, so it says, do not seek, it says self-ownership. Do not seek approval from the media. Don't take the job in hopes of securing a high-profile job after. And what does that mean? Do you know that some companies basically have implemented this policy, when you come on, if you don't read the contract, that once you stop working with them, you can't work with any competitors inside of the industry or like companies, and that sometimes cut people off from actually getting jobs after leaving other organizations. This was something that I've been hearing capitalists talk about, and you guys can go look it up. This is kind of what they're telling us as workers to be aware of that. Do not sign, especially me. I'm a contract worker. So they say don't sign those contracts that says that, because you could be liable and they can try to sue you. Okay, that's what come to mind when I see that, but maybe I'm overthinking. You are entering into a public service. You are there to serve the American public and the president they elected. Your job is to implement the president agenda. Your job is to implement the president agenda. Okay, and disseminate information to the public. Your job is to implement the president agenda. I'm saying that more than once because we are the American people. It's supposed to be the American people's agenda, but maybe I'm wrong. Done right, you will give more than you get back. What? Do you hear that? Done right, you will give more than you will get back. Is this in their video? If I was in the training class, I would have been like, what? Wait, sound a little bit like nursing. Hold up. Let's let him talk a little bit, and then we're going to go to the next point. That's a little weird. Yeah.
And they look at the people who are in front of the camera as their idols. And
now, this is weird, too. This guy, I'm not understanding why they have a priest or whoever right now, but this is a little weird right here. But I can see. Y'all let me know if you'll be comfortable being trained by somebody like this.
Thing that they are going to be working towards, whether it's White House press secretary or other jobs where you're regularly on TV driving the message. Most people who are working with the media, the large number of Schedule C appointees or even presidential appointees that are working in communications, you're not going to be in front of the camera. And it's important to realize because...
Listen close, y'all. Because you think the people in the front, like Charlie Kirk, was the one who was actually calling the shots and doing what he want to do.
You're going to be working on things very differently. You're going to be working to get buy-in on processes, and you're not going to be working with the media directly to get your name in something. The best people who work in communications in the government administration, oftentimes they are unnamed. They're the people that are doing the briefing books for the White House press secretary. They're doing briefing books for cabinet secretaries, or even lower level undersecretaries, assistant secretaries, or just lawyers working on a case.
So basically what you're going to be doing is taking information straight from the White House and trying to implement it in the background to face public figures. I'm not public figures. How to say influencers, because they're not public figures. Now, their duties. Let's watch this. Okay, realize your place in the process. Best commentators in the presidential administration are often unnamed. All positions are equally important in running an effective communication operation. More than likely, you'll be behind the scenes and not in front of the cameras. Credibility is key. It is imperative to remain credible throughout your tenure. I don't even know how they can say that when we have Trump, but I'm just going to move forward when it comes to credibility. Let's see what he has to say a little bit about this. We're just getting an opening look this morning. You guys, I'm going to do more lives like this in the evening time. I was supposed to do this last night, but I was not available. Thank you for everyone who's stopping by this morning. You know I do more commentary in the morning, but let's watch this.
Oftentimes, when people are in these positions, they'll talk about political appointees almost as they're ruining a system that's working effectively without them. But actually the opposite is true. Without political appointees, the government has no real way to implement the will of the president. That is a bureaucracy who is running things rather than...
How are you implementing the will of the president and then say a bureaucracy in the same sentence? Is it the will of the people? Because if it was a downward up communication where we're giving you our needs and you're helping funding it and implement it like we need, it wouldn't be no miscommunication. But the thing is that the pyramid at the top have an agenda and it needs to trickle down to us so we can just follow. That's what I'm hearing.
President himself. So when you're in these positions, you do have certain duties that you should be fulfilling. The first is communicating effectively regular government functions. There is the functions of the government that happen with or without political appointees, whether it's law enforcement, whether it's regulatory enforcement, and simply informing the public of what we think of as these routine things is one of our duties as a communicator when you work with the media. The second is, how are you implementing the agenda of the president? And this, simply put, is what makes us a republic, where the people have a government that works for them. And at this point...
Now it's a republic. Yeah, it's definitely not a republic. Because when it was a republic, when we would consider a republic, we definitely had more rights as Americans to get things implemented. So either way, not at all.
Largely, it is consisting of career bureaucrats. And the way that we're actually a republic is the American people empower certain individuals to control this government. The career officials are there to arguably keep the regular functioning parts of the government running, but the political appointees are there to be the direct will of the people in implementing the president's agenda.
Why do he keep saying that? I'm sorry, that is not making me feel comfortable. Now, remember, we're on an interview here. We're getting trained here. Now, if you're getting trained, and your boss say to implement the boss agenda, not saying to make sure that our products are good and safe, make sure that we have high quality customer service. Okay, this is what I'll be like, wait. I don't know if I want to work for this person. Let's see. This is another most replayed moment. Duties you should be fulfilling, effectively communicating regularly. Hold on, let's put it. Could you see the whole thing? Let's do it smaller. Regular government functions, what we do, implementing, again, what he said, implementing,
Next, I want to talk to you about...
Hold on. Implementing president's agenda. That's what makes us a republic. So what are we, a bureaucracy or a republic? You see how they're going back in between words? We can't use them both. Which one are we? Politically appointees exist to be the direct will of the people in implementing the president's agenda. I'm just implementing. I guess this is exactly what he said. So we probably don't need to listen to everything. But this is what he's saying. Does this sound correct? This is what our liberty stands on. Our liberty stands on what the president agenda is, because he's clearly saying it over and over. Okay, so how the media works, understanding the media and what their interests are. Two types of media: legacy media, political, and patriots media. Legacy media is New York Times, Washington Post, cable news network. How did they put them into these type of networks? Political is the Federalist, the Daily Caller, the Washington Free Beacon, and the Daily Signal. Do y'all know how they put them in this category? Because they already categorized in places. Remember, the American people read all kinds of outlets. Different kinds of American reads different kinds of outlet. So he's basically saying find a way to cater to them through these different outlets, but you're going to have to shape what you're saying differently. One is legacy. Maybe they like a more sensationalism, and one is more political. Federalist, the more they want more information based. I don't know what's the difference, but obviously when y'all watch this, he'll explain it to you a little bit more. Let's get to the next PowerPoint real quick. Thank you for being here with me. I had some issues this morning, guys. If you don't know what happened, I streamed through streaming equipment. None of them notifications went out. I told you guys I've been having issues. I have been censored by the Democrats. I'm living censorship again, but I'm fighting through it. So here we are. Bear with me. I had to start over. So this is okay. Okay, so let's see what legacy media. Oh, wait. Hold on. Guys. Oh, let's read that. I'm sorry. I'm moving a little slow. Get to it. Please hit the like button. Thank you for being here with Miss Grace. We did have some technical issues, guys. Threw me off a little bit, but I'm here for it because I won't let it stop me. I'm gonna be honest. Y'all know when things come up in your life and it be trying to stop your goals when you're doing things. That's what happened in the last 24 hours. But we're not letting it. So whoever's here, please hit the like button and remember what we're doing. Hold on, this thing ain't letting me show this. Hold on. But I am the product of censorship. Let me see. It went to, okay, let's talk about conservative first, I guess. Conservative media. The American people deserve to know what's happening. Conservative media outlets can and will factually, cover what is occurring. Okay, so so conservative media is going to tell the truth. Keeping in mind the resources, disparities, legacy media have access to multitude of resources where conservative media often run on smaller scales. How? You know why they run on smaller cells? Because they don't want to analyze everything. They don't go to all parts of the story like what we do. I guess I'm going to be a legacy media where I be going on TikTok, this person, that one. So he said, keep in mind which one is which. Giving a conservative media is a heads up in embargoing information will assist them with resources allocation. So they watch us. They watch the legacy media. There we go. Legacy media. So he's already categorizing us up already, saying who we are. After we get to this legacy media, we're going to get straight to the executive order because something I talked about yesterday I wanted y'all to see. And I told a lot of people to be careful with what they say in the chat and what they talk about. And I think he is actually doing it in the executive order. So this is the description of legacy media, which is us. Legacy media is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Their premise for making money is to capture your attention with salacious content. Unfortunately, some commentary will prioritize building relationship with legacy outlets and trying to get their approval by leaking. Legacy outlets will try to convince you to trade in your access and your promise to implementing the president's agenda. Oh my God. Yo, did you see this? They giving them a heads up that we gonna talk them out of it. We gonna be like, yo, here, look at this, look at this, look at that. This is what they already addressed this. They ready for us. It says legacy outlet, oh my God, would try to convince you to trade in your access and your promise to implement the president agenda, not ours, so they can get their next headline. Don't let the legacy media outlet convince you that the conservative media is secondary tier media. And they are, because they already said the legacy media have way more resources than them. Why is that? Because you're restricting what the conservative media can see and what they can talk about. How amazing is that? I don't want to be part of the legacy media. All right, so let's get to this. This is, I hope that this is an article that we came across. Trump NSPM 7 label common beliefs as terrorism. Okay, indicators. And that's what we want to talk about, because that's what I was saying, y'all. All roads leads to us being censored and calling American people terrorists. He already talked about using the basically American cities now that they have ICE all in there, and maybe send the National Guard for support as playing ground. He said that to the military, which is crazy. So this is just a little back history of common laws that kind of went through that was kind of crazy like this, but this is it. In NSPM 7, countering domestic terrorism and organized political violence. President Trump directs the the Justice Department and the FBI and other national security agents and departments to fight his version of political violence in America, retooling a network of joint terrorist task force to focus on the leftists. So the Joint Terrorist Task Force has been rebirthed to look at the leftists, not look at everything, but maybe that executive order get everything. Leftist political violence in America. The vast counterterrorism army made up of federal, state, and local agents would, as Trump aide Stephanie Miller said, from the central hub of that effort. So they will be the central hub, which is federal, state, and local agents, directing new national strategies to disrupt any individual or groups that foment political violence, including before they result in political violence. Like I'm saying that before they result in political violence, because it sounded like a little bit Minority Report. Look at that. In other words, they're triggering a pre-crime to reference Minority Report. The Trump administration isn't only targeting organizations or groups, but even individuals and entities. That's individuals like me and you that be talking online, and entities, businesses, small businesses, whatever, whom NSPM 7 says can be identified by any of the following, okay? Anti-Americanism. What does that mean? Because people listen to me and think I'm anti-American, and I'm not. I'm just good where I stand. Anti-capitalism. If you don't like the rich and elite, and you don't like the things they doing or saying. Anti-Christianity. Again, invoking, I thought his group, I thought that was his base, Christian voters, Charlie Kirk. Like, it's weird to me. Support for the overthrowing of the United States government. So that's why I don't say overthrow the government. I say they're going to destroy themselves within, and I say we just going to sit back, separate, and watch. You see, while I'm funny about the things I say and how I say, because I've been watching what they've been doing to us for years. And YouTube platform, if you've been on here for a long time, you will learn the key things that will get you in trouble. And you can work around that. And that's why I say certain things. I would rather be a separatist where we all work separate but equal. Isn't that what you said? Look, I'm clearing myself already because we're all going to fall under this some way, somehow. Huh? Let's move on. Extreme on migration. Extremes on race, extreme on gender, just extreme. Now, I understand just being extreme. It shouldn't be in this list, but I think we do have an issue with extreme behaviors, and it should be something looked at. It should be, like stalking should be taken seriously. Threats should be taken seriously, to kind of circumvent the extreme type of behavior, okay? But to have this in this executive order that's going to say more when we get to it, or what they're going to do and how they're going to kind of like focus in on people and what they're going to implement is not copacetic. Okay. Hostility towards those who hold traditional American views. Hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on religion. American views on religion, okay? You got to have American views on religion. If you don't have those, you could possibly be deemed a terrorist. And we're all different wakes of the world. Like, this is a melting pot. So even if we lived here and we're 2-3 generations in, we have our own religious views that's not totally American. What does that mean? Hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on morality, okay? That's just part of this particular article. I will be leaving it at the bottom for you guys. And now we're going to get into White House anti-terrorist order, targets anti-capitalist, anti-American views. Here's what to know. So I'll leave this, guys, for you. What is this? Let me see, because I want to show y'all some videos, but I'll leave this for you. But this is what we're going to get to. The White House executive orders. This is exactly what he did. He did this September 25th, y'all, while we was all distracted. So he has a few sections. The first one is highlighting domestic terrorism and organization political violence. So he kind of highlight what has been going on. He's talking about what ICE has. It says, okay, so I'm going to kind of summarize this until we get into the meat and butter. Okay, here we go. Okay, even in the aftermath of the horrifying assassination of Charlie Kirk, some individuals who adhere to the alleged shooter ideology, embracing and cheering this evil murderer while actively encouraging more political violence. So he said this is one of the reasons why this sparked this. This was preceded by the 2024 assassination of a senior healthcare executive, 2022. He's using that Luigi situation. Okay, so let's keep this in mind, because somewhere in this executive order, you're going to see this statement come to life, that basically if you supported Luigi, or you gave him any money, you may be considered a domestic terrorism. 2 separate assassination attempts against my own life in less than 3 months took place during the 2024 presidential election. Riots in Los Angeles and Portland reflecting more than 1,000% increase in attacks on U.S. immigration and custom enforcement. What? That just happened. You see, they were ready. But you brung them into Portland. You see how the setup? You see how the setup is? And so he's talked about the Portland situation, increased attacks on them, allegedly, on the ICE agents. And you just saw who was charged with federal charges for attacking the ICE agents. It was not migrants. It was not migrants. It was actually Caucasian. They looked like Caucasian American. Okay? I'm just saying. So I'm just showing that we're all about to be affected by this, and we are being affected by it. It says just yesterday, a shooting target in the ICE facility in Dallas resulted in multiple casualties. So this is their reasoning behind implementing this stuff. And so Section 2 highlights investigating domestic terrorists and some of the things. So they're going to be using the National Joint Terrorist Task Force and its official office. It's going to be called JTTF. They shall coordinate and supervise the comprehensive national strategy to investigate, prosecute, and disrupt entities and individuals engaging in an act of political violence and intimidation designed to surpass lawful political activity or obstructing the rule of law. What scale are we going to determine this on? Okay, these strategies shall include the investigatory and prosecutorial measures set forth in this section. So they will be able to, the JTTF shall investigate potential federal crimes related to acts of recruiting or radicalizing persons for the purpose of political violence, terrorist conspiracies against rights, the valid deprivations of citizen rights, and the JTTF shall also investigate the institutions and individual funders, okay, and officers and employees, funders and officers and employees of organizations that are responsible for sponsoring, for sponsor or otherwise aided and abetting in principal actors engaging in criminal conduct described in Section A that we read, okay? A lot of us may fall under that because what they're doing is tapping into our payments like Cash App, Zelle. They're opening up our payments by putting in laws so they can have easy access to see if we gave money to certain places and things like that. This is what he's writing into it. Non-government organizations and American citizens residing abroad is going to be affected, or with close ties to foreign government agents, citizen foundations, or influence network engaging in violence of the Foreign Agent Registration Act, or money laundering by funding, creating or supporting entities, by funding, creating, or supporting entities that engage in activities that support or encourage domestic terrorism. So this is about now combating domestic terrorism. At first, his focus was getting the illegals out, the ones that were ready to do terror attacks on us, and they flooding our country, and they're killers and they're murderers. And now it's expanding that we are turning into the terrorists. But I hope we're highlighting how we can turn into terrorists. This is ridiculous. Okay? So, there you go. It says the JTF the JTTF may, to extend permitted by the law, request operational assistance from and coordinate with law enforcement partners when investigating domestic terrorists. The National Joint Terrorist Task Force shall provide regular progress updates to the president through the Assistant of the President and Homeland Security. The Attorney General shall direct the Department of Justice to prosecute all federal crimes to the maximum extent permissible by the law, related to the investigation described in Section A that we talked about. Now, let's move down to it says also the Commission of the Attorney Revenue. So they're going to have everybody involved. That's what I'm telling you. They're going to get into our financial records. So it's not only criminal. Then he goes to address the Secretary of Treasury. In coordination with the Attorney General shall make available all resources. That's what I just said. But here it is right here. All resources to the maximum extent permitted by the law to identify and disrupt financial networks that funds domestic terrorists and political violence. Thank God we're not on a blockchain yet, because they could just cut it off in a second. The Secretary acting through the Terrorism and Financial Intelligence Office of the Department of Treasury shall deploy investigation tools, examine financial flows, and coordinate with partner agencies to trace illegal funding streams. They never said anything about getting warrants. Nowhere in this it says going to get a court order or anything. So I'm just trying to see what can lead to initiation of this, of them going into people's financial records. I'm not overreacting. Here we go. It's from the Attorney General to the Secretary of State, the Treasury, and then it gets better. They go into the Internal Revenue as well, the IRS. So the Commissioner of the Internal Revenue shall take action as well to ensure that non-tax exempt entities are directly and indirectly financing political violence or domestic terrorism. In addition, where applicable, the Commission shall ensure that the Internal Revenue Service refer to such organizations and the employees and officers of such organizations to the Department of Justice. Employees, that's what I'm saying. Some people work for people and don't even know what they're working for. The people who created the atomic bomb, some of them didn't even really, I'm not saying all of them know, because they was actually at a particular town and everything. But the bomb, I don't think they knew. I got to double check, but it came to me. I think the people who made the atomic bomb, help assemble it, they did not know it was making that. They were all just working on specialty parts. Don't quote me on that. But that's what I'm thinking, or maybe that was just a tell. But I'll go research that. But let's just keep that in mind. Sometimes we work for organizations and we don't know their ulterior motives. And in a situation like this, they can actually go after you as well. Okay? We just highlighting what they got here. This is part of Trump executive order, and this is exactly highlighting the war on freedom of speech that I've been worried about. He's gonna come hardcore, worse than Ovid. At least when they did it with Ovid, they were going straight to the platforms doing dirty dealings, underhand dirty dealings. Does that make sense? But this is not underhanded. It's right in your face. All roads have to lead to court. Oh my God. Let's listen to this. All federal lawsuit agencies with investigation authority shall question and interrogate within all full lawful authority individuals engaging in political violence or lawlessness. What is lawlessness? Regarding the entity or individual organizations such as actions and any related financial sponsorship of those actions prior to adjudication or initiation of the plea agreement. Anything before the plea agreement and you still doing it, you're about to get it. But what is lawlessness? Because it says violence or lawlessness. Okay. Okay. So associated federal officers or employees and otherwise engaging in conduct prescribed by 18 U.S.C. 11, conspiracies against rights under 18 U.S.C. 24, conspiracy to commit offense under 18 U.S.C. 37. I guess that's how they're going to justify if you even sound like you're about to say something. This is a conspiracy to commit, just like what we were kind of talking about at the beginning, where they was like, this is kind of like a minority report. Does that make sense? They're going to try to move to prevent some way by reading our comments, your comments, what you tune into. And if it don't align with the president agenda, I'm just letting y'all go, no, it's not you. We're not wrong for going to look at this particular information. Does that make sense? It's not wrong for us to look at this particular, any information. But what I'm warning you guys is that the president is overreaching his authority. And he's reaching it so far that it's going to affect us, again, on these platforms. They took over TikTok. You already know that just happened, and that was at the guise and the helms of Israel pushing that. So let's get down to this. General provisions. I think this was pretty much it. I got to most of it. Department of Justice designation. In the course of, as a result of the investigation directed by Section 2 of a memorandum, the Attorney General may recommend that any group or entity whose members are engaging in activities meet the definition of domestic terrorist, merit designation of domestic terrorism. The Attorney General shall submit a list of any groups, entities to the President, and the Assistant to the President and Homeland Security. He's going to look at that directly. Okay? So, I think I broke that down in detail. I hope it made sense and we made the connections. I want to first say, I do apologize, y'all, for having a rough broadcast this morning, but we got through. If you love Grace Levi and you pray for her, hit the like button. I did not go live yesterday on the streaming equipment because I had things that came up. But if you don't know, I went live this morning on the streaming equipment and the notifications did not go out. Again, I am a product of censorship from the government and actors, and that's on the Democratic side. It's not a lie. You can look at my videos. You can see videos having 10,000, 11,000 views way before this related to a certain subject matter. And a couple of months ago, my platform really being hit. I do believe that they have something that's connected or monitoring my IP address on my home computer, because when I go on my home computer, no notifications come out. But when I'm here with you guys now, notifications come out through my phone. So I'm going to still work on this. Y'all guys, help me out. Hit the like button. You know what I do here. It's all about freedom of speech, giving you guys like a heads up of what's going on and us looking at it critically, 365 degrees, like all the different moving parts. I am not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm about freedom and truth. What they always say, freedom and truth. And they made that even sound bad, but I am. So again, mind what you say on social media. Mind what you type right now because of this executive order. If we are not aligned with what Trump agenda is, we may be deemed terrorists. I'm definitely not aligned with it. But again, you be aware of the words you say and how they can be used against you, because it looks like Trump is coming for our freedom. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is following up with a few more, because I didn't get to go in to Charlie Kirk and his wife and her connection to the Israel government and things like that. Again, it's going to be some repetitive information that was from different, legacy media. I like legacy media, but then what I'm going to be doing is putting my own cheese and butter and spin on it, okay? And we're going to be putting it together. So with that goes to say, I want to say thank you for being with me today. Love you, and I will see you next time.